Hey, mahal everyone! Welcome back again to the Broadway Saiyan YouTube channel. I'm your host 40 and we are back with another video on the Alchemist code. In today's video, we are doing another character spotlight, and this time it's gonna be on what I feel is one of the best 4-star base units going to 5-star in the game currently, which is Lofia. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at why Lofia is really good. So, Lofia, we're going to take a look at her flavor. She is originally from Lustburg. Her zodiac is Moon of the Ice Water Wolf, likes bitter tea with sweet, and her hobby is contrasting between bitter and sweet. She's a girl who serves at the court of Land of Magic Lustburg. She's very knowledgeable, even on topics other than magic. At the age of 14, she became a member of the Royal Magi of Lustburg. She's highly philosophical for her age, but she enjoys a good reputation thanks to her nice personality. And there's her artwork right there. Very cutesy like of a character. Really, really cool. Her leader ability is Cryptic Revelation, so this reduces charge time by 5% for the whole party. Great leader ability if you're running a spellcaster-based type of a team. And her master ability, let's go ahead and scroll down here, is Sugar Boost, which gives her an auto heal, which is Regen. It also buffs her physical and magical defense by plus 20. The jobs she has available to her are Job 1, she has the Magic Swordsman, Job 2, she has Enchanter, and Job 3, she has Chronomancer. Alright, so now that we've covered that, we're going to go ahead and shift scenes here, and we're going to take a look at the noteworthy abilities that Lofia has to offer for each of her jobs, and then the recommended setups for each job. So let's go ahead and take a look at that here. Shift scenes here for you guys. Alright, so for Magic Swordsman, noteworthy abilities. Stone Sword by far, 18 jewels cost. Magic attack, not physical attack, so great because not a lot of enemies resist magic attacks as well as physical attacks. And then it also has the chance to petrify. This is especially good right now for the current extra event on the Sacred Stone Memories, so especially on Zahar, because it's really good to petrify him. And when an enemy is petrified, they're considered dead, but you could still attack them and farm them for jewels. So really, really good ability from the Magic Blade set. She also gets Flare, Blizzard, Blasting, and Spark Sword, which all cost 36 jewels each. Kind of a lot, but they're magical attacks with their respective element attached to them, and they are ranged. So they offer a little bit of range, so it gives Lofia that option of a ranged damage-dealing attack. Now, from the basic Magic Blade kit, she gets Ice, Fire, Arrow, and Thunder Sword, all costing 24 jewels each. Magic attacks with their respective elements. Doesn't have the range that the other abilities have, but they're still different elemental attacks, so it gives her a little bit of elemental flexibility should you choose to use basic Magic Blade as her secondary ability kit. Now, as a passive, noteworthy is Divine Shelter. Divine Shelter is great because it offers elemental resistances across all elements for Lofia, so it makes her a little bit into like an elemental tankish sort of a character with that. And then great reactive ability from Magic Swordsman is Absorb Jewels, where if she takes damage, she has a chance of absorbing jewels from the enemy, so it recharges her jewel count so she could continuously use her abilities. Now, this is especially useful for Magic Swordsman because Magic Swordsman, out of all of her 3 jobs, has the lowest jewel starting count. Now, the stat bonuses that Lofia gets when mastering Magic Swordsman is Physical Attack, Magic Attack, and Magic Defense. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to Enchanter Lofia and what her noteworthy abilities are for that class. So she gets Fire, Water, Wind, Thunder, Light, Dark enchantments, which is 16 jewels each. They buff the resistance for that unit to that particular element. The really, really cool thing about these buffs is that they last 2 turns. And the way you could tell is that if it doesn't particularly state a turn that it lasts, then it's going to last for 2 turns. And then she also gets Healing Enchantment, which is 16 jewels. It provides a small heal, and it also gives the character auto heal, which is essentially regen for 2 turns. So a little bit of survivability, a little bit of healing from this class, and it also has a nice buff to where like each turn they're healing for a particular amount. And then from basic enchantment kit, she gets Attack, Magic, Speed enchantment, which is 16 jewels each, and they buff to each of those respective stats. And the reason why I chose these 3 particular enchantments is because I feel agility, physical attack, and magic attack are the most noteworthy stats that you should be focusing on buffing or raising and things like that. Now, passives that she gets that I feel like are great from Enchanter are Resist Magic, which raises her resistance to debuffs, and Swift Charge, which is great for her spells because it reduces the charge time by 1/3. Upon mastering Enchanter, Lofia will get stat bonuses for Magic Attack, Magic Defense, and Agility. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to Chronomancer Lofia. Noteworthy abilities, Overclock, 50 jewels, immediate turn for target. So no matter where the target is at on the turn order, cast Overclock, they take their turn immediately. Really, really powerful ability. Kind of expensive, but still very powerful. Switch, I feel like people might not agree on me with this, but I feel like Switch is noteworthy to mention because it can be strategically used. Let's say if a character is in danger from your team, you can swap places with Lofia. Or let's say if there's an enemy that's giving you trouble, can't reach it, swap places, and then bring that target over to you. Black Hole. Very powerful, strong, non-elemental magic attack. 56 jewels. Yes, it's very expensive, but it is a strong magical attack. It inflicts stop unless they resist it, and it reduces their counter turn to 0. So extremely powerful ability from Chronomancy. Now she also gets Quicken from basic Chronomancy, which we all love Quicken. 16 jewels, pretty cheap cost, and you inflict the Quicken status on yourself or your ally units. It gives them the Quicken status, which is kind of like haste. So their counter turns is on overtime. It's on double time. So they're moving twice as fast. Delay is 16 jewels. This is something that you can cast on an enemy. It slows down their turn, so they take their turn a lot slower. And then Freeze is 20 jewels, but it inflicts stop on them unless they resist it. So great abilities from basic Chronomancy. And then she gets the passive Clock Resist, which nullifies all counter turn related ailments such as stop and delay. She gets Time Leap, which is a great passive as well because it raises her skill count. So for example, Fire Sword and all those different sword attacks from basic Magic Blade, you can only use them 3 times, but with this passive, you can use them 4. And then Counter Delay is a great reactive ability because if she takes damage, she has a chance of inflicting slow or delay on the target. So that target will be slowed down. They won't be able to take their turns as frequently. Now, the stat bonuses that she gets upon mastering Chronomancer is Magic Attack, Magic Defense, and Luck. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the recommended setups for each class, depending on which class you decide to go with Lofia. So, with Magic Swordsman Lofia, you want to go with Magic Blade, obviously, and then you also want to give her either basic Chronomancy or basic Magic Blade, depending on what you want to use her for. If you want to make her purely DPS, go with basic Magic Blade, but if you want her to be a hybrid of a DPS/support, give her basic Chronomancy. Reactive ability, you can either go with Counter Delay or Absorb Jewels. Now, keep in mind, Absorb Jewels is for me, would be more recommended, only because she has a lower jewel count with Magic Swordsman. Now, the passives I would go with are either Divine Shelter, and then either Swift Charge or Time Leap. Now, we're going to go ahead and move on to Enchanter Lofia setup. So you want to go with Enchantment, either basic Chronomancy or basic Magic Blade. Now, keep in mind, if you put basic Chronomancy on her, she becomes purely a support character. So she won't be able to deal much damage unless you want to go out there and, melee people with your staff, which is not really recommended with an Enchanter. So if you want a little bit of DPS with Enchanter Lofia, go with basic Magic Blade. Give her reactive ability Counter Delay, and then give her the passive Divine Shelter, as well as Swift Charge or Time Leap. And then for Chronomancer Lofia, Chronomancy, either basic Chronomancy or basic Magic Blade. You want to give her the reactive ability Counter Delay, and her passives go with Divine Shelter, and then either Swift Charge or Time Leap. Alright, so now what are some recommended gear examples for Lofia? You obviously want to focus on Agility, HP, and Magic Attack. She excels in Magic Attack, so obviously you want to continuously, buff that stat as much as you can. And then Agility and HP. Agility for turn order, and then HP for survivability. Some perfect gears that you can give her are Curious Doll, Alchemist Mascot, Sapphire Earrings, Binding Scepter, Dazzling Blade, Electro Spike Blade, Cloak of Protection, and Swallow Scarf. Now I chose Dazzling Blade and Electro Spike Blade if you go with Magic Swordsman. I don't know if there's a sword right now that gives magic attack and those give physical attack, but the reason why I went with those two is because they also give HP, which is good for Lofia. Okay, now what are my final thoughts on Lofia? Recommended job is Magic Swordsman or Chronomancer. Now you can opt to go for Enchanter. I've seen Enchanter work really well. In fact, I played a multiplayer yesterday on stream with Kylera_PF, and the way that Kylera used Enchanter, I was really, really impressed. So you could go Enchanter too, but generally you want to go with either Magic Swordsman or Chronomancer. What are her pros? Elemental flexibility. She has attacks across all elements, so she's great for that. She has great magic attack and magic defense. Her leader ability is great if you're going to use a caster-based team, and she can function either as a DPS or support unit or even a hybrid. So Lofia can do a lot. She offers a lot. What are her cons? Low physical defense. She's very squishy, so just keep that in mind. She can't really take too many physical attacks. She has somewhat low HP. You can always bypass that by equipping Alchemist Mascot. However, that'll put her like, I think like at 700 or 800 HP, which is not bad. But without it, she has like 500 at Magic Swordsman, and then like 300 or 400 on Enchanter and Chronomancer. And then her agility, it's average. It's not bad, but it's average. I know my Lofia right now has around like 90-ish agility, which isn't bad for the type of unit that she is, but it could be better, so you can always bypass that by giving her a little bit more agility with Swallow Scarf. Now, is she worth to reroll? So I'm adding that here because it was a request by a viewer, but is she worth to reroll? I'm going to say no. And yes, she's good, but the reason why she's not worth rerolling is she's a 4-star base. So that she's not that hard to get, and if she's even featured on a rate up on any future banners, she's going to be even easier to get. So as long as you're doing, let's say, just your 500 pulls for your multis, or you're pulling from your free tickets, there's a really good chance that you'll get her because she is a 4-star base. And even if you don't, there will be events later on where we can farm particular soul shards for characters. So those are going to be coming out for the future for gacha units that you didn't get a chance to pull on, but at least we can farm some of their soul shards. So that is going to be it on my character spotlight for Lofia. I hope you guys found this video very useful. Please smash that like button if you did, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel for future Alchemist Code content. Once again, I am the Broadway Saiyan, my name is 40, stay tuned for the next video, and mahal everyone.